Welcome to Shinedown Stage Right. We're going to do a little rig rundown here. This is Eric Bass's bass guitar, acoustic guitar, keyboards, and foot pedal sub bass as well too, the Moogs. This is the new rig built this year for the Dance Kid Dance Tour, and we'll start at the top. We're running the Shure Accent wireless unit, 4 channels, the 4Q, and it is absolutely spectacular. Got the rack mount battery charger as well too, which really makes it easy to make sure everything's always charged up. We're running into our JX44 Radial V2, the new one, which is MIDI controllable as well. Shout out to Jim over at Radial, always taking great care of us. This is where obviously my wirelesses are coming in. I'm running 3 channels for the bass. Channel 4, I'm running directly out of the Con DI, so I've got a tube DI on the acoustic. Once it comes through the wireless, it'll go through the tube DI, and that way it just goes straight out. All right, so I've got the Crybaby rack mount wall controller here. Could do multiples, but we're just using one here with the Crybaby Custom Shop, the DCR2SR. Shout out to Julie, Jim, and Kehoe over at Dunlop that just take such good care of us, just unbelievable. Decided to go with the rack wah. That way, if anything goes down, I could just kill the wah right here and replace a controller, for instance, if it came out. And he likes to use the auto engage unit as well too. And I've had issues with these in the past. Every now and again, if this thing goes out and it stops, it would get stuck on as well too. So you gotta be prepped for that. But once again, this XTS controller right here, basically just mimicking 4 of my buttons on the RJM Mastermind GT10. And then I'm able to control via MIDI here on the JX44 and being able to mute the whole thing MIDI as well too, which mutes the whole rig, the clean and the dirty channel, which is great. Shout out to Jim over at Radial, always hooking us up as well. Pedal wise, we're using a bass whammy over here, which we're using only one setting. It's just for our sub octaves. That just gives that really low sub bass, and it is an octave down, octave up as well too. Always stays there locked in. And mini MXR carbon copy is our delay. It's basically just a single slap back. I've got a drop pedal, Digitech drop pedal in here, just in case of emergency. I could go ahead and, if we just needed to drop down a half step or a whole step, theoretically could do it that way. Scott Marceau over at Line 6 sent me the HX1 that I put in here. I've got it set to a chorus. This is the Swiss Army knife pedal. If you ever need something like on the fly, you could just scroll through here. This is an awesome pedal that I highly recommend. And I've got a poly blue octave in here as well too. That thing is tons of fun to play with. Super cool, and also can act as a backup for the whammy if I'm doing a sub. The way that the rig works is I've got an A and a B is my clean channel. B would be my backup. Thank you, Dino over at Ampeg, hooking us up, SVT7 Pros. We love these heads, man. They're great. They're rock solid. They sound spectacular. I'm using a direct out of the Ampeg because it just sounds great. That's our clean amp. Also running a Rupert Neve RNDI out of the speaker output as it goes into the Rivera 15-inch Silent Sister. Thanks Paul and Paul Jr. and Rich over at Rivera, always take care of us. This thing's spectacular. Originally built for Roger Waters for his tour, and they just sound great. So we also have a mic, obviously, on the ISO cabinet. So 3 lines for the clean bass sound. Dirty sound, Boutique Amp Distribution are our friends, man. Mario and Avi, can't thank you enough, man. The Soldano, the X88 IR, man, it is spectacular. The IR sounds great on this, the direct outs. We were blown away when building the rig. We've always used an ISO cab for the dirty in the past. So we went ahead and put the Synergy, the 5050s in here. They sound great. We're basically running out of the preamp, into the power amp, out of the power amp, going into the ISO 112, and it's mic'd up as well. That's our dirty tone. So to go from a dirty tone to a clean tone, it's basically the Soldano goes from a dirty channel to the clean channel. I've got the clean channel output totally shut off, so it's basically a mute, which leaves me with just the Ampeg sound. Back to dirty, boom, the Soldano kicks on, and the combination of those two is really where the magic happens over here. Putting a pedal onto just a clean bass amp, you lose the big round sound that this beautiful Ampeg gives you. This way you're just combining those two, and it just works really great. I did forget to mention that we are clocking. Most people might look and like, what the heck's the Big Ben doing in here? Well, we're clocking the AD4Q, the Shure Wireless, and we really feel that it warms it up. You can feel it and you can hear it. It just gives it a little bit of analog feel to the digital wireless, and it's a spectacular job. Over here on top of the Ampegs, I get into a little bit more of the keyboard world. The Moog, we're using these beautiful little Minotaurs, which sound great. I've got them racked in here, so I'm able to use a Studio Logic foot pedal system, basically like having a Taurus set up. And the Studio Logic, this one I've got blocked off, so just certain keys are available, but then we have two on this tour. This is for the down stage on the main stage, and then this Minotaur in the back is for the B stage. B stage 1 is used for multiple different songs, so the whole octave keyboard is left open. This is used for symptom, so only certain notes are used, and that's the way that works. Anything MIDI in here, I'm using the RJM, the MIDI Smart Box, which is amazing what you can do with it. Just keeps everything clean and allows me to be able to use if I'm using this as a backup, if we're just using one, I can keep both of them plugged in and the signal will go to both units, and I can just swap out the outputs. Rupert Neve RNDIs for both Moogs as well too. Mini keys, we use the Motif Rack XS. These sound fantastic. Mainly it's for like a concert grand piano sound that we use on the little mini keys as MIDI controllers, and these work really great. Joe Castronovo hooked us up with a couple of these Korg Pitch Black X Pro tuners, which are fantastic. If I take one of these inputs out of line here and basically mute it, it automatically sends a signal here. So if I've got a bass on and I just need to do a quick double check on tuning, I don't have to turn the pack off, unplug it, plug into the tuning system. I just, basically mute it by turning the input off. That automatically sends the signal here to the front Korg tuner. I can tune up, boom, bam, and we're back and ready to go again. Super cool situation here. Also using the JR5 remote from Radial to be able to kind of see what's going on, just in case I could still, turn the 3 packs on and off. It also gives me a mute for the side stage. Off to the side, I have another tuner that is basically that controls this mute button. And once it's muted, everything's muted, and the side tuner is always getting a signal to it. So you can roll over there, hit the mute with the little Boss pedal, and the Boss TU3 Waza is rocking and ready to go. Come around the back and I'll show you the back side over here. That I had to do a little bit of custom fabrication, but it keeps everything nice and clean off to the side. Power cons when possible as well. Over here in the Soldano's effects loop, I'm using the Rev G8 noise gates. That way, when Eric stops playing, the gates clamp down and we don't have to worry about any hiss in the middle right there, so that tone just stays really clean when there's no playing going on. Another little smart box here for the MIDI. This is for everything guitar related, and the con for the acoustic, and everything else is just kind of paneled out, and you know, make it a little, try to make it as fast as possible. There's a lot going on here, so load out could be slower if I didn't have this much, but it's definitely not quick. One other thing that we're doing here is we're using the radial VT with the Soldanos in case if I have to go to the backup dirty rig, instead of having to repatch all the speaker cables, boom, I just hit one button here and it moves me to the backup rig. And everything in the back here that requires any 9-volt, I'm using a little mini ISO brick. Thanks Dunlop once again, MXR products, awesome. And you know, there's a couple of other things attached to the back here. Got to have a talkback system, so we've got this clamped down, little talkback rig over here. And let's talk some bass guitars. All right, bass world. This is the OG, the #1. This is the War Machine. Eric's favorite bass. Sterling. He really likes the Sterlings. I would say it's got a little bit more of that J profile, thinner neck. He likes to move around a lot, and he's able just to throw this thing around. It's a little bit lighter, but it sounds absolutely spectacular. One single humbucker in here. He does use a couple of different positions depending on what song he's using it on. Custom ones with no inlays on the front. I will light up the glow-in-the-dark dots so he can see when the stage goes dark. This one has been in the rig for quite a while. Just recently, Tim over at Ernie Ball was so kind to really hook us up with some beautiful new colors. This is our #1 E right here, on that beautiful red, but we wanted to keep it matte. So these are custom colors for this year, but matte instead of gloss. Lots of tunings as well too. I've got a few spares in here. I've got a Music Man as a spare for the standard E. We use a Music Man as well too for, this is our Devil guitar, call it the Red Rocker. Another beautiful clear pick guard on this one. These are our brand new Dance Kid Dance low B tuning on these. So we had two absolutely beautiful flame maple fretboards, just so sick. We've got a matte white as usually the main, and sometimes we'll just switch it up a little bit and grab our matte black right there too. And both of them obviously with the maple fretboards, absolutely stunning. So this is for our C tuning, which is down a whole step. Whole step drop to C. One of my favorites here, the Silver Burst. Full step down, at natural. All these are spec'd out to be the same. That's the whole goal, is to have the same tone on these basses so front of house doesn't have to make a lot of adjustments. full blue burst. This is our half step down guitar. This is Rusty Cherry, mainly used half step down and dropped as well. This is an older one that we've had for a little while, but as you can tell, we're pretty much moving all the way over to the Sterling models.
Ray, should I leave my phone? Yes.
And last but not least, the black, the matte black. Brother and sister right there. These are the old school originals. Thank you to Tim Dove at Ernie Ball, just taking such good care of us. We love these basses. They sound amazing, and they're just super solid every night. I can't say enough good things about them. Absolutely spectacular. Okay, so over here, we're using a Studio Logic MP113, which is basically controlling the Minotaur that I have in the rack. It used to be placed out here, but I wanted to get it out of the way, back in the rack, nice and safe, so if I can have to make adjustments, don't have to go onto stage. This is basically just a MIDI controller. I have it set so the glide has the sustain on all the time, so Eric will hit the note that he wants, and then he turns up the volume pedal, and it will sustain and stay on. This way, he's basically playing foot bass pedals while he's doing acoustic guitar, singing vocals. He's doing 2 or 3 things usually all the time because he plays piano, he plays the foot pedals, acoustic guitar, bass, and massive amounts of background vocals. So this makes it a little bit easier for him to get to. And we also have a little bit more on the B stage, which we'll show you now.
Because we're pulling taut, right? And then I take it and put it in. You'll be out.
All right, so over here we have another Studio Logic, which is the second Minotaur that's in the rack. This one, I don't have it on a glide situation, so as you play it, it will just hit the note, it won't continue to sustain. On this one, I also put a Kenton MIDI line driver because this is over 150 feet. We have to use XLR power cons instead, Ethernet power cons to get the signal to and from. MIDI over 50 feet starting to get a little sketchy, and we don't want to risk anything like that. We also have our second CP33 Yamaha. It is not the newest one, but I believe it's the best sounding one. The grand piano sound on this CP33 is stellar. This is used for all the B stage things the guys are doing on the Dance Kid Dance Tour, and so it gets worked pretty hard. And we're using 2 of these. One also up on our baby grand piano shell up on upstage all the way. All right, out here for acoustics, we've been using Taylor guitars. We're doing the ES1 systems. That's what Eric really likes. So we've got the body sensors and the under the fretboard pickup. It works fantastic with the feedback buster in here. It's able to control the feedback, and it sounds great. We also have these great stands. Beware stands. My buddy Steve Braun over there makes these great stands that right there, Beware. You can adjust it for the size of the instrument, but they're really heavy duty, and I want something solid on stage, so when Eric is walking up and like playing the bass, and then he'll have to strum up and start doing some acoustic stuff and singing vocals at the same time. We're using a standard cymbal stand drum hardware, so it's a really nice bass to it. These are great, and we're using SIT strings, Thanks to Eddie over there. Using 11s and 12s depending on the tunings on these, and we're also using the SIT strings for the bass. 50 to 110 are our standard gauge, and then we do a 50 to 115 for the low tuned, and a 45 to 110 for a little bit some of the higher tuned stuff as well. So they just take such great care of us, and yeah, everything out here is rocking and rolling, and just want to thank everybody for helping out with the rig, and everybody who's coming out to the concerts this summer. Looking forward to seeing you guys out at the Shinedown show. And of course, we need to use picks, and Bert over at Intune has been hooking us up with custom picks that are just awesome. The new Shinedown ones, Dance Kid Dance picks. We got the dancing TV heads, and we've got the dice. So thank you, Bert, for taking care of us out on the road. Back to picking.